Why do psychologists claim that they can take a dream, a random crazy dream at that, and provide some elaborate, meaningful interpretation to it? How do you separate random junk from meaningfulness? What if your dream looks like this? Surely that can't be interpreted. What about this? These are random, or so they seem. Psychoanalysts of the past like Jung or Freud worked tirelessly to create a method and a discipline to interpreting dreams. This isn't the same as the fortune telling and opinion based conjecture you get when you post a dream on the Dream Interpretation Reddit. We're going to look at very basic steps. Dream Anatomy 101, how to interpret dreams. And today we'll focus on associations. This little meme here, it illustrates very well the general attitude towards dream interpretation, which is not a good one. It's kind of like to derive some meaning from something as random as a dream is absolutely foolish. And that attitude and that notion, I have to say, is supported by the general dream interpretation community. You have a lot of people who are eager to help interpreted dreams. Like maybe they feel that they're mystically inclined or psychic, and they have no method or discipline whatsoever in a dream interpretation, and they'll rush into the subreddits. They'll answer people's questions about their dreams in the least meaningful way possible. A lot of times what they're doing is they're taking their own experiences, their own knowledge of symbolism, and their own struggles, projecting it directly onto the other person's dream and seeing within the person's dream themselves. And a lot of time it doesn't resonate with the person who had the dream. And then you see people looking from the outside just kind of laughing at the 12 different comments about what the dream could mean, and they're all completely different and random. Just as random as the dream is. That gives the psychoanalyst a very bad rep. And if you're already skeptical, I understand. But there is a method and there is a discipline about dream interpretation that is much more useful than anything you'll see from a novice mystic dream interpreter. The discipline I am talking about is the combination of Freudian and Jungian ideas that have been used clinically to help diagnose people, to help understand people, where the behaviors are coming from, what repressions they're holding back. This is not to be thrown away. This is a meaningful and useful exercise. Dream interpretation can be very good if it is done correctly. The first thing you need to do with this method is to pick out the symbols in the dream and to figure out the context of the symbol and what it means to the dreamer. So that is where the idea of free association comes in. One of the first and the earliest examples that showed association happening was Pavlov's dog in that experiment. So Pavlov had a dog. Every time he would give him food, he would ring a bell before. After a while, he called it classical conditioning. He was conditioning the dog to associate the bell with food. So he would ring the bell and the dog would salivate, even if there was no food present. The dog associated the ringing of the bell with food. That's just an example of association. So association is going to be your real life experiences recorded in your memory, in your personal unconscious mind, your subconscious. And then it gets projected back out. So as you can see here in this graph that I did, associations can be projected out onto other things, onto symbols, onto objects. Associations are going to determine how you see the world. because with every object that you come into contact with, every person you talk to, you have an associated feeling in your subconscious mind tied to that person. If you dream of a knife, maybe that knife is threatening or bad or dangerous. To me, when I dream of a knife, it's a symbol of work, since I work with knives quite a bit. That's my association to a knife. Both Jung and Freud were digging into this associations idea when they were discovering dream interpretation. Freud started off the science of interpreting dreams, and eventually he met Jung, and he was impressed by Jung because over here, unrelated to Freud himself, Jung had discovered that if you, say, wrote down 100 fairly generic words like death, life, woman, cook, and asked the person, what is the very first word that pops into your head when I say death? That he could uncover the person's association to the word. So by doing this, he was uncovering the personality, the past traumas, the experiences, and the general mental state of the people in connection to just words. So you can see where the idea of associations becomes immediately important. Now that's out in the physical world, but associations work within the subconscious mind too. I once analyzed a dream of someone very close to me, and I will share this dream with you because it very perfectly captures the process of finding free associations to interpreting symbols. So this was a woman, and she had just barely gone through a breakup that was pretty sore. She had this dream probably just a few nights after, and she came and talked to me. And in her dream, she was in her ex's house, and she was trying to wipe sawdust off of the shelves. Sawdust was dusting everything up. And long story short, she couldn't get it off. It wouldn't come off. And she looked over in the room in this house and saw her ex's father at a table eating pizza. And she talked to him. He gave her a rag, and that rag was able to wipe up the dust. And it was the only thing that worked. So I won't give the entire dream interpretation to you. We'll focus on the associations. All I can say is there's clearly a theme in the dream about not being able to get rid of a mistake or not being able to clean up a mess, but then needing to go through a process to do so. But I want to focus actually on the pizza. So to your average dream interpreter, to your average person looking at this dream, it's just so random that this man has a pizza. Why does that matter? Is that significant? Well, it would be tossed out pretty much immediately. The pizza is just a random image. Now, to the psychoanalyst, every possible symbol in a dream could be very meaningful if you but dig a little bit. So I questioned my my analysand on the pizza. I said, so have you had pizza recently with anybody? Did you go get pizza with your ex's father? Any relation to pizza here? Like, tell me about pizza. And at first, obviously, she's like, no, pizza, no. But then all of a sudden, click, she remembered. Oh, you know what? Just probably a week before our nasty breakup, there was a fight with the family, with my ex's family, about what we should have for dinner. And we ended up getting pizza. Oh, boom, there you go. There's the free association. And the dream is still using a meaningful symbol in the context and the message it's trying to deliver, trying to fix problems. Here we have a symbol of a problem that happened. And she told me a lot about it. I can just tell you The symbol of the pizza she was associating was a general familial problem that was happening that was preventing their relationship from existing. All of that symbolized in the slice of pizza, an association of a real life memory that occurred. So you guys are starting to see you can't just randomly go with what you think is important and meaningful, because you know the most insignificant part of the dream could be the most significant, symbolically speaking. I'm going to teach you how to identify symbols and what they could possibly mean. So here's a graph. On one end you have a pizza, on the other you have a ladder. If you guys were to dream of a pizza, there's no what do you associate with pizza? There's not too many things that are super relevant about pizza. It's kind of random. But a ladder is quite different in nature, symbolically speaking, because a ladder is something that implies movement up or down. It reaches high places, it reaches low places. So the symbol of a ladder might be a little more archetypal rather than a association. However, that's not really always the case, and this is only to help you guys see that some symbols might be more archetypal and symbolic in the way that both parties can understand the symbol of a ladder versus the symbol of a pizza. However, there's this weird thing that happens called a condensation when a symbol is both freely associated to a memory that you had and it's archetypal. A pizza ladder, maybe. Or Jung analyzed a dream I actually talked about in my last video about a pope who had various features of different people he knew. The guy was associating himself to the pope and with the other people. It gets really messy. So dream symbols can be both archetypal and associated. One of the most important dynamics of dream interpretation is the relationship between the analyzer and his subject, the dreamer. So when you start digging into their free associations, something happens quite often called resistance. So I've said before in other videos that dreams are very blunt, they're very personal, and they can reveal some nasty things about the individual who has them. And the individual doesn't know that until the analyzer starts pulling things out of these symbols. And when that happens, since the dreamer wasn't really ready for it, they can put a wall up and start resisting. So the analyzer might ask, well, did anything happen with you and pizza recently? And if your dreamer feels uncomfortable, they will just go, nope, I don't know. Why is there pizza in my dream, Mr. Analyzer, right? And they almost flip on you and they start attacking you in a way. That happens a lot. And so for all of you watching, if you're being analyzed, you need to be conscious that this is something important that you're doing and you shouldn't take it lightly if you're not ready to talk and this dream is going to bring out things. Try not to resist too much. And if you're analyzing the dream, you need to be ready to be able to gently, engage with your dreamer and don't push things too far that don't need to be, opened up. This picture, this is the relationship between the dreamer and the analyzer. I just want to wrap up with a few little announcements. Thank you for all watching. There is a subreddit. There's practically no members yet, but hopefully over time we can build a very small community. And I actually really want to talk to you guys about your experiences, your dreams, things you want to know more about. I'm not just doing dream videos, we'll have philosophy videos, although I have a roadmap planned ahead. We're going to look at Jung's theory on synchronicity and read together his book, Synchronicity, the excerpts from it at least. And we'll also sprinkle in more of these Dream Anatomy 101, 102 videos where we break down how to analyze your dreams. So that's the future ahead of us. And thank you for watching again. Please participate in our discussions and leave a comment below.